Hey creators, and welcome back to another episode of Creative Convos, the podcast. I am your host, Faith Joy, here with episode 4 of Creative Convos. Listen, we had our live podcast last month, actually. It's been a month, and I'm still recovering, honestly. I feel like God really did his big one, so I had to process, but I want to thank all of the ladies that showed up, that came out to support and experience a life-changing event. I got good news for you. We're having another one in February, and I want you guys to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go follow us on social media, faithjoy_, so that you can get all the information as it comes out. New things, great things are coming for 2025, okay? It's giving, the girl is doing her thing. So I want you guys to make sure you can get the information. So make sure you do that for me right now. Like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Today, though, we're just going to chat. We're just going to have a good conversation with my good sis, Lacey. She is here with me live and in person. Hey, girl.
Hey, y'all. Hey, sis.
Hey. So today is going to be a little different. We're going to just have a good convo. Sometimes you just got to take the professional hat off and put the good sis hat on and just chat with your sis and really get to know her. One, you guys are going to get to know her. I know her for what I know her for, but you guys are going to get to know her. But she's also going to allow you guys to get to know me in a different capacity. A lot of times when I come and I sit here, I'm talking to the interviewer, if you will, and I'm getting to know them and allowing you as the viewer to kind of get inside scoop on their life and their profession and things like that. But tonight it's going to be a little different. We're just going to sit and chit chat like good girlfriends. Okay?
Yes.
Are you ready? Yes.
I'm ready.
All right. So I want to first tell y'all how I actually met my sister. I call her sister because, one, she has been this big sis I've never had. I have sisters in real life, like bloodline sisters, but I also have a lot of adopted sisters that has taken me in and has mentored me, inspired me, uplifted me, prayed for me, and you are literally one of those. So one, thank you for what you do in my life. It's commendable to know, like, we didn't know each other from Adam nor Eve, literally. And you've just taken me in, I've taken you in, and we've just walked with each other, talked with each other, dined with each other, broke bread with each other, and that's a blessing. So, little backstory. I think we just said 2019, 2020? 2020. A mutual friend of ours had an event, and I was welcomed onto the panel. I think she had me, I think I was the facilitator, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and you were on the panel.
Yes.
And that was how we officially met. And even with Tanea, shout out to you, girl. Hey, girl, hey. She had came on podcast when I was literally doing it in my living room. Mm-hmm. You remember that? Mm-hmm. She came and did podcast with me when I was doing it in my living room, and she asked me to come and help her with her event. And that's why I met you in person. Before that, we were following each other on social media, and I loved everything you were doing. And from the outside looking in, it was just like, you just got it going on. You were graduating from North Carolina A&T. Yep. You was an AKA. You had multiple businesses. You was going back to school. You just doing a lot. You lived out of state, coming from Baltimore. So you just, for me, were a true living inspiration of what I wanted to become. And I think that's what really drew me to you. And then as time went on, we kind of just
organically connected.
That's a great way of saying it. We organically connected. So I didn't even say this, but the episode for today, the episode is going to be called, let me tell y'all, Cultivating Sacred Connections. And I want you to share a little bit about that. How do you feel like we were able to cultivate our connection?
Yeah, so I feel like when we did the panel, it was very much, we saw different things in each other, like, oh, I'm inspired by that, or I like that. And it's hard to find people that immediately you're like, something in you, like, I feel like our lights in each other were drawn to each other. And for me, I'm not a person that is super open to new relationships, and especially not in the way that you and I connected.
Yeah.
And you said earlier, I'm a tough nut to crack, but it was easy. Like, it might not have felt that way to you.
Not at all.
and I have a way of doing that. It's not always intentional, but like you said, it is somewhat of a safety thing for me, like just making sure. I learned very early what I carry. So I'm very protective over that. And I don't always do the best job at it, but I try my best to have discernment about the people that I let close to me. But I saw you very early, so it wasn't hard for me to let you in, even though you may not have felt that way.
And that's okay.
But I think that's what it was. Like, I feel like our lights were drawn to each other.
I think that's a beautiful place to like kind of start the conversation, because a lot of times what I'm learning, especially now in this day and age, like social media is like the guru for creating relationships platonically and monogamously, right? And sometimes you're drawn to a person but don't know why, and then you can be drawn to a person and it could be for the wrong reasons, you know, or they could want to attract to you for the wrong reasons. So I think for me, when it came time for me to like make the decision, is this someone I want in my life, I started to have to like allow you to create a new image of who you were to me, if that makes sense. Like who I saw you to be was kind of like the outside, like a picture of who you are. But then I had to kind of like go and pick out like, oh, I see she does this, but she communicates like this, things like that. So what do you feel like are important things for when you cultivate those relationships? If you want to use us as an example or just in general.
I always talk about discernment, and I will say like within the last year, I used to always pride myself on having such good discernment, and I was quickly humbled, and I realized like you don't have true discernment until it comes from God. And really like taking people, places, and things to God and say, is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this who I'm supposed to be connected to? And if not, please make that clear.
That's good.
Because I always didn't have that like spiritual maturity to do that, and I would just go off of a feeling. But I think that as you grow, you start to really just pay attention, like what is this person into? What is their focus? How do they navigate the world? What do people say about them? And not that that always matters, but I think it's important to leave impressions, good impressions on people. And for me also, like knowing who to drawn to, but also like I have a thing where my spirit will immediately reject people. And that's something that I personally struggle with, because my mind often has to catch up to what my spirit is saying. And now I'm stuck in a situation where I have to, for whatever reason, I may have to be around this person. I maybe have to be connected to them for one reason or another. But I already know, like,
it ain't going to work.
It's not going to work.
Ooh, that's good.
But
I think that's
good, but it's so hard.
Scary. It's scary.
So hard.
It's scary,
it's so
right?
Hard.
And it's scary for several reasons, because think about time, think about history, think about love, think about investment, all these different things that has came into play into this relationship that is now like, okay, this doesn't work. Whoa,
that's heavy. It's hard, and people, you would think it's a gift, but when you're dealing with people, like I said, that you may have to deal with for whatever reason, and it could be y'all just share an environment every day. It could be somebody you work with, or someone who's a mutual friend of a close friend of yours. And how do you tell somebody this person is not, because I don't have facts to back it up. All I can tell you is my spirit has rejected this person.
It's just no longer aligned with it. Wow.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow. Interesting. I think we I'm trying to figure out, how do I say that? Like, that's a big message in such a small sentence, right? Because a lot of times we don't allow our spirits to lead us. We'll allow emotions or that feeling, to take so much control that you don't walk in really what's supposed to happen. And if we go back to our relationship, I could have, because we knew a lot of mutual people, right? And people talk, people say whatever they say, people can come back and be like, girl, don't, not saying that that's what happened, but when you're cultivating relationships, you take in those things. You take in people's opinions, you take in your own emotions, you take in offenses, you take in all of those things play a huge part into cultivating that relationship. So then you have to process, and then the importance of why discernment is important. And then I'll add prayer to that, is because if you were to discern something, but you did not go and pray about it, how you gonna get the answer?
And how do you even know that it's valid?
Correct. Yeah. So what are some God-like traits that you look for in friendships?
How do you spend your time? That's very important to me. Like, what are you into? how do you talk about the people in your life? How do you treat people? That's big for me, especially the people that you're supposed to have honor for. So how do you treat your mom? How do you treat your dad? How do you honor your children? And again, I won't harp on this, but because it doesn't matter as much to me, but how do people feel about you? Because it's one of those things when it's like you meet somebody and they always have trouble in friendships and they always make it seem like it's the other person,
but don't take accountability for
right.
themselves.
So like I pay attention to those type of things, and that's kind of how I allow to be led in relationships, because I spent a lot of time with the wrong people doing the wrong things.
Come on.
So now it's a natural instinct to be like, God, am I supposed to be right here?
You ask that question.
Yes, absolutely. So, because I've spent so much time getting it wrong, I can't, not that I'm old or anything, but it's like time is of the essence for me now. So I don't, it's too costly for me to spend time in relationships and in places that I know
no longer suits you.
It doesn't serve me. Yeah. Because one thing about God, he will, if you're not obedient, he'll go fulfill his purpose elsewhere. And I don't want to
say that again. What you said? Say it again.
God will, if you are not obedient, he will skip over you. He will go fulfill his purpose elsewhere.
Wow.
And not that he won't come back for you, but you might be delayed. It could have took you 4 months, but it took you 4 years. And it's like, I don't have time for that no more. Like, I always pray, like, I'm trying to do big things and I'm trying to make sure I'm in alignment. Like, I don't want to waste no more time.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Oftentimes, my bishop used to say, you could be delayed but not denied, right? Why do you even want to be delayed? If you have the choice to say,
that. Let me get that.
Let me get mine now. Run me my money. Run me mine right now. And I think we need to think more about it in specifically our purpose. Like, you are delaying your purpose because you're attached to something that he been told you to let go of. And you literally don't even see how much delay is happening repetitively over and over and over again. You keep being delayed because of you. Yeah. And you know that he told you. Thing.
And you still like, what? You know that picture, and it's like the girl with the teddy bear, and she has like a little teddy bear, and then it looks like Jesus is leaning down, and he has like the big teddy bear behind
his
her.
back.
And she's like, but I just want this one. That's what I always think about, like moving out of the will of God is like, he got this big old teddy bear, and I keep playing with this little Build-A-Bear. Like, stop playing.
The Build-A-Bear is crazy. That's good, Lacey. That's good. You over here spitting.
Please.
That's good. People really need to take that serious. Like, that is a mouthful in so many capacities. Because think about it. If you are delaying your money, you're delaying your purpose, you're delaying where he's taking you, you're delaying your destiny. Like, everything is attached to a decision that's literally based off of discernment and that's based off of prayer. And I think that we have to, myself included, we have to get to a place where we're just accepted, like in a place of accepting what you already know is what is true.
And my pastor, I don't know when he said, it was a long time ago. He said, we think our life is for ourselves. He said, but there are 1,000 other souls attached to you. And he said that I was young and I didn't really conceptually understand what he was saying. But if you really think about like how many people you leave an impression on, and it could be you just walking down the street and saying hello or telling somebody God bless you, or the people close to you seeing how you lead your life and how you move, and that inspiring them to want to do better. And I think once I recognize like, oh, people are paying attention, because it could be like I might not have seen somebody in a long time and they'll ask me something very trivial that I might have posted or something, and I'll be like, you saw that? Or you know that? Like, so once I realize like, oh, people paying attention, and not that I have to, by any means, I don't live a facade. What you see is really what it is. I'm not a person that perpetrates at all. But when I realize like, oh, people are paying attention to what you do, you got to tighten up, because it's not even about you no more. Like, there's people attached to your tenacity. There's people attached to your faith. There's people attached to your obedience. And sometimes those are the things that keep me, because I can be more accountable for other people than for myself. Something as simple as like going to the gym. I know that my trainer, he's waiting for me, and if I don't come, he's texting me, "Where you at?" But me getting up and going to the gym, oh, I'll go later. Oh, so like having that mindset, like somebody's accounted for you. And I don't have children, but I understand people like you said, like you've been my inspiration. I didn't know that.
You literally did.
I was just living my life.
Yeah.
You recently told me that.
Yeah.
So
After 4
like
years.
right.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
4.
And that's beautiful.
So having an understanding, like people are paying attention. So you gotta. People always talk about it with their children, but understanding there's people in the world, whether it be social media, your friends you interact with every day, like you're accountable for 1,000 other souls. It's not just about you.
I think the beauty in that, and where I have accepted my call in that ministry of serving, is that I want people to be drawn to me to want to change their life because of my life. Like that you may not now, but as you keep evolving, and like you said, you're walking into this new season, you're gonna see that you get a true joy from people like clinging to you because of just the essence of who you are. Like that's
pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, but it's beautiful
pressure
when you're living the right life. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
correct.
And by no means, I tell y'all all the time on here, like I am not 100% walking upright all the time. Like I do my best to walk in my purpose. I do my best to walk in his will. I do my best to live according to what he tells me, but I fall short. And
Absolutely.
we all okay?
Do.
We all that's what the words say. We all fall short of the glory of God. It's in it. That's why he died for us. We ain't gonna go there. But when it comes to the fulfillment of life, like I get a joy out of somebody saying to me, like, Faith, you literally are changing my life. You're helping me see what I need to see for me in order for me to become a better woman or better person, better mom, whatever. Like, and I think when you really are doing it for the right reasons, when you're really walking upright and you're not living a facade, you're not doing it for the likes and the glam and all of that, you really can see the fruit of your labor when someone else is like coming to you and telling you, like, man, like Lacey, you literally helped me. I said this to you recently, but me watching you, it's like watching, this is probably excessive, but like it's like watching a celebrity in a sense. Seriously. Like if you go back and you look at your story on like where you came from to now, even if you aren't where you see yourself to be, like where you want to be, you've done a hell of a job to complete so many things in such a small amount of time. You're like 29?
Yeah.
29. And you're doing things that 40-year-olds have never accomplished, you know? So I tell you that to say, like, give yourself grace, one, but also pat yourself on the back. Like you I ain't even want to tell everybody your business, but you are really doing
today. I'll let you tell my business today.
You're the epitome of black girl magic. Like for real. And I want to be, I am that. I am in a different, I give myself all the pats, baby.
Yes.
We pats, but it's not easy doing what you have accomplished so far is not easy. And all the odds that's been stacked against you, people leaving, people coming, people going, you know, your upbringing, where you come from. Like it's not easy being a black girl from Baltimore and accomplishing the resume that you have, like as a person. Take away the accolades of accomplishments. Yes, you've accomplished so much professionally, but just who you are and the essence of who you are is deeply rooted in just being a great person. And I thank you for that. Like literally, so I love you. I love you because of who you are. Literally.
Thank you. I will say for me, earlier when you were asking me to introduce myself and you were like, well, talk about yourself. And I was like, I don't want to do that, Faith. And you're like, why? I love your humility, but no, you need to tell people who you are. And when you talk about like my Instagram image and like how you saw me, on one hand, like I need that because it reminds me to keep going. But another hand, like when I'm navigating the world, when I'm meeting people, I want people to see me like them and not in a way that I'm above, like, I don't want to feel like I'm above them or they see me as something special, because I want people to know I did it, you can too. Like, I don't come from anything special, so to speak. I didn't grow up with rich parents or whatever. And not that my life exudes that, but I often feel like sometimes when people speak to me, they look at me as I am doing things that are unattainable. I am just a person that when I decide, for me, it's just making a decision. Once I make the decision, it's just a matter of time of when it actually comes to fruition. So like traveling and doing my businesses and like living elsewhere, those are all things that came from a decision. So I think like sometimes we just have to decide who we want to be and how. And once you realize like, oh, I have the ability to, once I make my mind up, I can do whatever I want. Like it sounds so cliche, but when we talk about like goals, sometimes we complicate them way too much. And it's like people come to me like, Lacey, how did you start all these businesses? How did you do this? And it's like making my mind up and going for it. Yeah. So, but to your point, I think that's what makes me different from most people because I don't see new things as obstacles. I see them as an opportunity. Like, let me see what else I can do.
I love that. Yeah. Love that. I think that will must say two different things. One, you were motivation. You were inspiration, but you became motivation. Like, I want those things. It wasn't even like I want your life necessarily, but it was more of a, it was more of a like, you're showing me that I can obtain these things at my age, coming from where I come from, you know, living where I live, whatever the case may be. Because at that time, I want to say I was just back home with my mom, and I just no, I was living on my own. But I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in the hood, you know, just the whole different dynamic.
You know,
but like it was my life, you know. It was my life, and I enjoyed it. I appreciated it, and I was blessed because of. It could have been a different way. But for me, a lot of times when I go on social media or when people come and are drawn to me, they look at me as this, which are basically saying like an idol in a sense, like you're drawn to me for whatever you think I have. But in reality, I was drawn to you because of, like I just said, the essence of who you were. And I did not get to appreciate that until I actually met you, you know? Yeah. So a lot of times people on social media will be like, Faith, you know, I really adore you. I love you. I whatever the spill is, you're not really seeing like I had to really go through all of these things to get here, you know? Yes, and that's basically what you're saying. Right. Like I'm literally living my life and it's not been easy. And social media has that
it's a highlight reel.
Yeah, literally. And it has that play on your mind where it's like you're only going to post what you want people to know, what you want people to see. You're only going to most of the times people only post the good things or when they're traveling or the highlights of their life. And that's why my platform is so important to me, because it's an authentic space. Right. I literally created this space to allow people like you to come on and tell their story and tell us about the nitty gritty and get down and dirty and let us know like, everything about my life isn't glitter and gold. So before we go into the different lane, what do you I don't want to say what do you struggle with, or what are some of the things that you say now, because your life was one way and now it's different, you know, and you're kind of walking into a different lane and God is taking you to a different direction. What are some of the things that you feel like has been challenges for you?
A big one is how people see me and being this person. And now I'm trying to figure out, like, it's not that I can't do those things. It's I don't feel called to them anymore. Like, when I posted that I was closing my business, people calling me like, why would you do that? Everybody loves your products. Da, 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 da. And I had to tell them, like, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing no more, y'all.
Within your I guess your journey, if you will, how has that been working out for you? Like accepting it.
So I would say I had to learn that lesson. It was a hard lesson I learned twice. So the first time was when I went to college out of state. And I literally did not know what I was doing. I just knew that that was where I was supposed to be and that was where I wanted to be. And at the time, like my group of friends, they either weren't going to school or they stayed home. So I was just chartering new territory across the board. Like I not only went to school, but I was going to school out of state with no family, nothing. And that alone, the conversation changes because I'm a broke college student out of state. I remember when I decided I was going there, I called my mother. And I love my mother to death because she always just trusted me, like from a very young age. Whatever I said, she obviously was the parent, but my mother always trusted me. I remember I went on a college tour and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, this is the school I'm going to. I said, I'm about to go to the admissions office and sign my intent to enroll. First of all, out of state. I didn't know how I was paying for it. I didn't know how I was getting it. I didn't care. I told you.
Always had that tenacity, though.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm going. I called my mother. She was like, all right. I literally went to the admissions office that day while on a college tour and was like, signed, because I had already got accepted. So I had signed the paper. And that was when life started to change for me because my group of friends were changing. The things that we had in common were changing. And then the second time was when I graduated from college and I moved to Seattle. And that brings, it's one thing going to school, but once you become a full adult and I didn't move down the street.
You ain't moved to D.C.
I didn't move to D.C. I didn't go to Atlanta. I went to Seattle, Washington.
Why?
That was where my job was at the time. And, back then, I can say this now, making decisions out of survival versus like a place of thriving, it was no reason for me not to go there. And I am very humbled and blessed that God saw it fit for me to go there because that changed the entire trajectory of my life. But even then, that was a lesson I had to learn. I had to learn to put people in categories and understand this friend is for this. This friend is for that. And this friend might be for both, but you still can't do that.
All right.
And that allowed me to maintain healthy relationships.
People think that that's not a thing. It's real people in the world right now
that think what
that are watching this podcast. That categories are just not a thing.
No, you have to.
You have to. You have to.
That's why people fall out because they don't understand. I have friends that they not into church, so I'm not about to call you and be like,
"Let's go to church." Why?
Let's go to church.
For you to sit there on your phone and not pay nothing. You ain't paying the sermon no mind.
You gonna be like, I don't believe in that stuff, and that's cool. All I can do is live my life in such a way that maybe one day you'll become interested.
Amen.
I am not one of them Bible thumpers that's
leaving them alone. I'm not a Bible. Some people will probably say I'm a Bible thumper. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I can't do friends that don't believe. I just can't because what are we talking about? So that's one category that is probably non-negotiable for me.
Again, it's a category. We might can be real cool, but how cool?
But how can we really be cool if that's one entity of your life that's so important?
They might not be there because I've had friends where they weren't there in their walk, and then they later called me and asked me to teach them the salvation
But I'm not
prayer.
even saying that in the sense of you don't have to be walking so close like me, but you need to at least want to go walk. You need to believe is my point. You don't feel like that's important?
I feel like it's important. I'm not underscoring that, but I feel like I won't cast out a person for that. Because again, I feel
agree.
like my walk is about living in a way that even if you don't decide to become saved, you're now interested. So to your point, people see me she got this, she got that. And if every time you put me on a platform or you talk to me and I'm like, God, thank God, thank God. Eventually, you might be like, okay, that's the missing thing. I'm a little interested.
Okay.
For me, that's okay. I don't need you to be where I am or even close.
Okay, fair.
And I've had that. I've lived that where people are just, they might believe there's a God, but they don't believe nothing. And then
I have friends that just believe, and I'm fine with that. I just can't do the people that don't believe at all. So I'm saying as a friend,
or you can't.
No.
Okay.
I bind that. I don't play like that.
I'm gonna tell you,
as a friend, no.
So for me, I'm interested. I just wonder,
I don't even want to go there.
How did you get here? But anything, that's
Okay,
a conversation for another
categories.
day.
Talk about the categories.
Categories.
All right.
So to that point, like I understand that you are a person that I can call when I'm down and out, and whether it be monetarily, maybe I need somebody to fill my cup up. Like the other day, I posted a story and you responded. I was having a bad day, and you responded and was like, "Her, don't ever forget it," and that was like, cool. Like I needed that, and it was something so simple that sometimes we forget. But just know who your people are, y'all. That's all I'm saying.
But let me clarify, because I don't want the people. I don't want the people to be mad with me, but I don't even care if you mad. But honestly, my categories are determined by the person. It's not determined necessarily by me. So I got my friends that I go out and I have a good time. We get a good kiki. We might go eat. Have a little fun. Let's say that, right? Then I got my friends that I can take to go eat, but I can also take them to a seminar or a conference. Then I may have my friends that I literally will tell my whole life business, everything, pour it all out, cry together, woo, woo, woo. Then I may have my friends that are just my church friends. Like I know that I can only go to a church. Capacity. Yeah, like we might go see Sarah Jakes. We might go see Tasha Cobbs. But I'm not about to call you to be like, let's go, go eat. Or I might need to run up, testify. I might need to go run up, and I need to go call my friends that I know that's going to go with me to go do what I need to do. Right. And then I got my other friends that's going to talk me out of that and be like, Faith, you moved on from that. Like, come on, stop that.
So I'm a little both.
Yeah.
I might be like, make it make sense. All right, we can still go do it.
Or Lacey, I'm going to call you if I need to. I know I can call you if I need to run up. But you're going to pray with me afterwards and be like, sis, you know you was wrong. But right. But you need that. Like, and I believe that categories are it's a thing that you need to take into consideration, especially when it comes to understanding who you are and where you're going. Everybody can't go with you, but and I had to learn this, and I'm still learning it. You can't take everybody with you, but you can't leave everybody behind too. Like some people are just.
Don't think you just so.
No, not at all. And it's a place of humility. But I have learned to put people in categories whether they like it or not, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
I agree.
Okay. All right, I had a question though. When it comes to being different, navigating through the world, how do you not conform to what the world say we're supposed to be?
Anybody in my life will tell you I have very strong boundaries. My no is no and my yes is yes.
What's boundaries?
Meaning I am a person, like, I can just become into a relationship with the person, and you may do something or say something I don't like, and I'm gonna nip it in the bud early, because I'm very big on, like, not in a like a motherly, like, don't do that type of way, but I, in a way, teach people how to treat me and how to carry me, and setting those boundaries allows me to show up with my full self, because you'll get, you may feel like you're getting like a half of the pie or a piece of the pie with me. So I think for me, like, I am very, I hone in on my boundaries around, like, don't talk to me a certain way, or like, I'm very big on don't talk at me. Have a conversation with me, even if we're in disagreement. Talk to me. Don't talk with me. Let's have this dialogue about maybe something I did, or vice versa. Or my no is no, I can't do that, and I don't need you to tell me a sob story about why I should do it, or
trying to make me feel guilty.
Because that don't work with me. It's either yes or no. I don't really have a gray when it comes to certain things, and I'm working on it. But I think for me, like, I am very sure about who I am, and I'm very sure about how I want to show up for people. And I will say the people in my life will tell you, like, I do show up and I'm going to show out when I do, but also when I'm not there, it's for good reason. So I'm not very moved, because I just know who I am.
So for a person that's trying to figure out who they are, or what does it look like to become a sure woman, or a whole woman, or a healed woman? Like, how did you get to this version of yourself?
Be okay with being alone. And I don't mean that in a way like you can't be in a romantic relationship or have friendships, but be okay with yourself. Like you have sometimes people make themselves so busy so that when they get home at night, all they have to do is lay down and go to sleep. But like spend some time home, figure out what type of TV do you like to watch? What type of food do you like to cook yourself? What type of books do you like to read? When you're scrolling social media, what things are you drawn to? If you are, like you said, drawn to someone, what about that person
are you drawn to?
Are you drawn to? Is it because that's something that you dislike and it's just a mirror for about yourself? Or is it because I want to be more like that? Like just spending time and figuring out like, who am I? What do I like? And I think for me, once I figure those things out, there's not really much that can make me deviate from that.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am.
Yeah.
And not in a way of that's just how I am, so I'm not going to grow or not going to get better. But in a sense of like, I'm not going to be moved. There's a song by Victor Thompson that says, I'm not moved. It was called Not Moved. Y'all should listen to that. But yes.
Okay.
That's big. I think like, we always say we love ourselves, but do you? Like, do you love the person that looks back at you? When you lay down at night, are you happy with who you are? And can you truly say, like, I like me? And I feel like if we spent more time just, like, with ourselves and really, truly liking ourselves, we would connect with people who like themselves but also like us.
Facts.
And that is so, like, underrated.
Underrated. Absolutely.
People always talk about, like, and we're not going to get into this, but like the relationship thing and why the dating pool is just so crazy. And I always tell people the simple answer, like, find somebody that like you. Like if at the foundational level, you like each other. I'm not talking about like that in love and
honeymoon
all
phase.
the honeymoon stuff, but like, do I like you as a person?
Yeah.
Everything else can be figured out later.
Yeah. And that's platonic and monogamous. Yeah. And when your whole point of this episode was, what do we call it? Sacred Connections?
You're not going to do that.
Cultivating sacred connections. Cultivating sacred connections, right? When you're cultivating them and you're looking for them, make sure you pay attention to if you really like the person. Like, you can choose to say, I don't like this. That was my point. You can choose to say, I don't like this. Not even only internal and reflection of yourself, but people. Like, you can say, this does not work for me. You can say, I'm sorry, but I choose not to do this any longer. Or, maybe we thought that this worked, but it no longer works. And that's a real thing. And we got to have those hard conversations. And if I was to be honest, like, a lot of my relationships that I've ended lately took for me to be real and say, this doesn't work for me. And I mean, when I mean real life, like long-term friendships. Though. Exactly. And I'm standing on that. Like, I'm standing on, we just don't work anymore.
We're not in alignment. And that's okay.
And that's okay. Exactly.
That's okay.
Exactly.
You're not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. Just our walks
it just
are going
doesn't
like
work.
this now.
Okay, so we are gonna wrap this up. We're gonna have to come back and do it again because we didn't get to our second half of the show. But it's okay. But I want to say thank you. Yes, that we did that, and I hope y'all enjoyed the girl talk. But I want to thank you for joining me, coming on the pod and chit chatting with your sis. Do you want to tell people how to follow you or any of that, or? At a later date. All right. This was just girl talk. She keeping everything private.
Me.
Okay.
We are here.
Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Creative Convos, the podcast episode 4. Here with my good sis Lacey, who's keeping everything private, but got so much going on. She'll be joining me on our next event. Prayerfully, hopefully, God willing. We will see you guys soon. I love you guys so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go follow me if you don't do anything else.
Amazing Lace, y'all.
On social media, FaithJoy_ with an I. Love you guys so much. See you guys soon. Bye.